So to start off with the new topic or the new chapter today, the topic that I'm going to discuss with you. Uh, Please remember this chapter carries 25 marks in your ICC papers. Okay, and 25 marks is not a joke. It can actually crack your 1/4 of the entire ICC papers. So to give you the briefings about this particular chapters, you have to understand what the chapter is all about. This chapter has less of theory. Okay, very less theory, but more on improvisation and the implications and implementations. Okay, basically the chapter from this particular chapter, generally what happens in your section B, there will be 15 marks program. Obviously compulsory 115 marks program will be there directly from this chapter, and also this chapter is correlated with 7 other chapters of your ICC syllabus. I repeat, this chapter is correlated with 7 other ICC chapters of your computer application syllabus. So please take this chapter very seriously. It's require more of the practice rather than marking up, because the theoretical concepts is very less. It's all about how you understand the topic, and upon the topic how you improvise it practically. I will go very slow and very steady, because I will not teach any topic more than one topic at a day. If required, I will be revising all these topics after the completion of each and every classes. So please ensure that you follow up this chapter properly. So basically the name of the
So which
chapter,
chapter?
method. The name
Method.
of the chapter is the method. It carries 25 marks in your ICC exams. Okay, 25 marks, out of which 115 marks confirm program will be there, and rest of the 10 marks is on the basis of the output and some part of the theory questions in your section A. So to start off with this, I will show you the direct practical implementations of this, discussing each and every topic very specifically. So first, if I ask you about the method, before method you have to understand why this chapter is required. What is the importance of the method, the topic method inside the program? Now basically till now, whatever programs you have done, if you can remember properly, or if I open it in front of you, any simple program, how you would have done it. This is the screen that you can see right now. Basically you used to write the package name, import package name at the top of the program. Then you have a class name, followed by you have a main function. Okay, and inside the main function you generally used to write your main program inside. Okay, now let me tell you the purpose of this main function. This is the part, or this is the identification mark from where the compiler starts compiling the entire program. Now the problem is that what happens, it is observed that when you are designing any complex program, in the time of the complex program, if you write the entire program inside the main function, okay, the entire program, your entire operation, your entire application, everything is written inside the main function. The problem that occurs is that it is observed that the compilation time requires more, number one. Number two, memory occupancy of the program becomes more. And number three, the time of the compilation of the entire program also increases. Okay, so basically these are the 3 disadvantages if you write a very complex program entirely inside the main function. Not only that, there is also a fourth and It's a universal problem that occurs in all types of programming language. When you write the complex program inside the main function, the problem that generally occurs is that if there is any error which occurs inside the program, then the error identification and error rectification becomes very, very tough, because it is hardly understandable that which part of the program or which segment of the program is an error. Okay, also there are some kind of error, like for example, you are writing a very complex program that requires 50 or 40 variables. Okay, so designing for creating 40 variables also becomes very, very complex and very, very tough. So when you are creating 40 variables, firstly you have to remember the purpose of the 40 variable. Only then you can improvise all the 40 variables into the program. Not only that, in some part, if you, like the human error, while writing the program you go on to make a mistake, then from this 40 sets of the variable or 40 set of the syntax, if you are asked to identify the error, the identification of the error also become very, very complex. You have to read each and every line, and then you have to find out the error. Only then there is a possibility that you can rectify the mistake. So there are a lot of complexities, as you know, when you write the very, very big and very, very complex program directly inside the main function, just like this, which you can see on your screen. So that is why the purpose of method has been established. Okay, what is that method? Method means, method are the sub programs, a small program inside the main program. Try to understand this. Methods are the small program or a sub programs inside the main program. That is, when you are dealing with very, very complex program, you divide your program into sub modules. Okay, and all the modules are interrelated with the main function, because the main function is the only part from where the compiler can start executing. Okay, if a program does not have any main function, the compiler will never execute any program. I repeat, if there is no main function, then the compiler will never able to compile the program. So to achieve the purpose, main function has to be there in the program, but the core purpose, the core tasks of the operation, which are the complex operation, what you do, you divide all this work into several departments, several modules, sub modules. Okay, and these sub modules are known as method. To keep in mind, always understand, you can have a note of it. There are basically two types of method. I repeat, there are basically two types of method. One is the user defined method that user creates, and another is the predefined method. Okay, to come to the predefined method, I will show you the example of the predefined method. Okay, always remember, in a method, what happened when you write some word, it is used by the circle bracket. Right now in this particular program, as you can see, which are the methods? Main is a method, next int is a method, okay, print is a method, okay, print is also a method. Okay, so always remember, any keyword which is preceded by a circle bracket is termed as method inside the Java program. Now every method has a different purpose, but now if I start off with the predefined method, you can write it that the predefined methods are those methods whose definitions are already created inside the class. I repeat, predefined method are those methods whose definitions are already created inside the class. Why I tell you? If you see, next int is a method. Okay, to improvise the operation of next int inside the program, basically next int is completely a separate program. But for that, if I ask you, instead of using next int, you are asked to write the program of the next int into the program, then you can understand how lengthy the program it will become. Okay, So that is why what happened, the program, the definition of the next it function is already created inside a certain class. We are just writing the word. With the help of the word, the compiler will understand that its program has already been written beforehand. The user will not write any separate program for this particular method inside the program. So that is the purpose of the predefined method. In predefined method, we directly use, I repeat, we directly use the method inside the program, okay, because its program has already been written on the back end of the compiler, that is inside the class. There is also some other predefined method. If I change this program little bit, and if I write, let's say double, sorry, if I write, let's say double x is equal to math dot pow, okay, c comma 2. So this pow also becomes a predefined method, because the operation of the pow method has already been defined, or its program has already been written inside the math class. Okay, so out
That
here,
means,
yes,
that means all the mathematical functions are methods,
all
predefined
mathematical,
methods.
all mathematical functions are not, don't specify the mathematical function. Like next int is not a mathematical function, but the program of this next int function has already been defined inside the util package. Okay, util package is a collection of class. Okay, so whichever specific class, you can specify that the next int program has already been specified inside the scanner class. Okay, that is why we are just writing the word next int in the program. We are not writing the program of the next int inside the program. So always remember, whatever is the predefined function, all the predefined functions programs are already defined inside some class. So that is why we need not have to write the separate program for the predefined method inside the main program. This is the method. This is the purpose of the predefined method. Okay. So there are lot many example as such. Yes, you can say all of the mathematical of functions are predefined method. Apart from that, you have next int, you have next float, you have next double, you have next long. Okay, all these next oriented methods which are used in the program are also predefined method, because they are pre-programmed inside the scanner class. I repeat, they are pre-programmed inside the scanner class. So basically, the moral of the total discussion is that all the predefined methods are already defined, or they are pre-programmed inside certain class which is present in the Java program. Okay, that is why when we improvise the predefined method into the program, their program or their definition need not to be written inside the main program. Okay, so that is the purpose of predefined method. Okay, I'll give you the notes. From the notes you can read it out. Okay, now come to the user defined method, which is the biggest portion and which is also very crucial, because the question that will come is from the user defined method mostly. Okay, in the user defined method, firstly you have to understand the user will not only create the method, but also the user is responsible that how the method will work or how the function will work, which means that when the user is creating certain method, user is also responsible to design the program of that method, so that that particular method can work specifically. Okay, for this case what I will do is that I will show you how you can create a method user defined method, and then how the method can be implemented into the program. So for that I am creating a new class. Okay, so let's say method creation. I have created a class whose name is method creation. So I am going to show you how the user defined method is created. This is the screen as you can see. So what I will do is that just to take any random value from the user which can be of any purpose. So I will put the package name. Okay. So this is basically my package already imported into the program. So firstly, what I will do is that I will remove all the unnecessary lines in the program. Okay. So this is basically right now is present out there. Okay. Always remember, when the user is creating the method, what are the elements that must be present while creating the method? Element number one, public access specifier. So you will write the keyword public. This is known as access specifier. The purpose of the access specifier will be discussed when we will do the class chapter. For that, till then, you will just prepare it as a public keyword. So every method must have a access specifier which is termed as public space. Okay, every method has to have a return type. Every method has to have a return type. Now these return type are nothing but equivalent to the name of the data type. But what I will show you in the initial phase, I will show you only void type. Void is the return type, and I will also discuss the purpose. Okay. After that, space, now the user will create the name of the method. Okay. So let's say we are performing the addition of two numbers. So I will create ADD, addition followed by bracket. This means that this is a method that user, that is myself, has created into the program. This part will perform the addition separately, not inside the main program. I repeat, this part will prepare the program, will perform the addition separately, not inside the main program. Okay. So after that, press enter, curly braces and close curly braces. What does it mean? This means user created a method. Okay, and inside these curly braces, what will happen? Here comes the definition or the program, how the method will work. Okay, so basically it's like writing a normal program, but it is a separate program. Okay, so this is the section where you will perform the addition. Okay, now as I also said in the previous discussion, that is, if you don't create the main function, then the program will not compile. So what you will do, after you have created and defined your user defined method, after this you will write public static void main. Okay, curly braces open and curly braces close. So this is the part where, from where the compiler will start compiling, and there will be certain point where this main function will get linked with the user defined method. Try to understand very carefully. There will be one part of the segment in the program where this program will link with this particular user defined method. Okay, main function will not perform the addition, but this addition function will perform the addition. Okay, so this is called the concept of creating user defined method, where your main function is there to connect with several other user defined function, and each of these user defined function will work by themselves. Main function will not do any operation. Main function will just control all of this user defined method. I repeat again, that is, main function is there to control all of these user defined method. Okay, when the main function will control all these user defined method, none of the operation, I repeat, none of the operations will be performed inside the main function. Main function will be just connected with the user defined method, and each of these user defined method will work by themselves. Okay, so this is basically the creation, of your user defined method. As you can see, in the user defined method, always remember you have the two segments. Number one segment is the user defined method and its definition, and the second part is the main function, because without main function the compiler will unable to scan or unable to compile the program. So what happened, the main function is get connected with multiple user defined method. You can create any number of method inside the program. So this main function will get connected with all of this user defined method, and the program will execute in such a way. So since we have created a method right now, so this is basically the syntax of the example of creating a method. Okay, so you can write this as an example of how the methods are created. Okay, so what are the elements that you have to keep in mind while you are creating a user defined method? Number one is the access specifier. This is known as access specifier. This part is known as return type. Use the term return type because this part can vary, as well as this part can also vary. That is, access specifier part can also vary, and the return type part can also vary. So what are the different types of access specifier that you have to learn? Three types. One is public, one is private, one is protected. You can write it down. One is public, one is private, and one is protected. These are the three types of access specifier present in the Java program. Okay, next come is the void keyword. Okay, now this is called return type. There are approximately 5-6 different types of return type. That is, each of the data type can be termed as a return type when you are using beside the method. That is, you have integer return type, you have float return type, you have long return type, you have double return type, you have short return type, you have byte return type, you also have character return type. So each of the data type that we use beside the variable, all of this when you write beside the method name, I repeat, all of these data type when you write beside the method name, these are used as a return type, not as a data type. So if you are asked what is the difference between the data type and the return type, always remember data type are always written beside the variable and return type is always written beside the method name. Okay, what is the purpose of the return type? We will discuss it later on in this chapter. Okay, now you have to understand this concept, that this is how basically you create a user defined method, and that is how you create a main method. Now how will you understand that this is the difference between the user defined method and this is the difference between, and this is a main method? To understand the difference between the user defined method and the main method, always remember the name of the user defined method. Firstly, the name of the user defined method should be anything other than any keyword that are available in the Java program. I repeat that the name of the user defined method should be will be anything other than the keywords that are defined inside the Java program. You cannot write void as the name of a user defined method. You cannot write static as the name of the user defined method. You cannot write util as a user defined method. It can be anything other than, I repeat, it can be anything other than the keywords which are available inside the Java program. Okay, and always remember, this main function is the essential element. If I can put a tag, this is the part from where the compilation starts. Okay, so until and unless you don't write the main method, this is fixed. Main, okay, main is also a keyword. Okay, so this is the part where the compiler easily identify that from where the actual program starts. So the moment compiler see that main method is available, the compiler will start compilation from this part. Okay, if this main part is missing in the program, your user defined method remain unscanned. Always remember, if I show you a diagram, that how does it looks like, just a second. Okay, so if I have to show you that how these particular things work, it works like this. Okay, this is your main part. Okay, this is your main method. Okay, this main method is indicated by this particular symbol. Okay, this is your main method. Now what, as I said, that the user defined methods are created so that your main program can be divided into sub modules. Okay, so you will have what, you will have small sub modules out here. Okay, these are sub modules. Let's say we are performing different types of mathematical calculations. So for, let's say, add is one of the user defined method. Okay, then you have subtraction. So subtraction becomes another user defined method. And then let's say multiplication is another user defined method. Okay, now each of these methods, sub modules or sub methods, okay, they are connected with the main method. Okay, so inside the main method there will be a certain block of programming segment. What they will do, each time the main method will call each of this method. So from the main method, the compiler will visit each of this method, the compilation perform, and then the compiler comes back to the main method. So the process is something like this. All of them are reversible. Let me use this term if there is any arrow. No arrow. Okay. So each of this process is a reversible process. How? Compiler starts from here. From here, firstly, the compiler will see which method is called. Let's say this is number one process. This is number two process. Sorry. This is number two process. And this is number three process. Okay. So what compiler will do? The compiler will come and and the compiler will start processing from the main method. Now the compiler will come inside when the first segment says that first I will perform addition. So from there the compiler will come into the add module. Here the entire addition is performed. Now after the addition is done, the compiler will move back into the main method. Now again the compiler will see that right now I need to perform the subtraction. So the compiler will come here. Okay, the compiler will come here. The compiler will come inside the subtraction. Now here the compiler will see, yes, subtraction need to be performed. After the subtraction is performed, the compiler will go back to the main method. So end of the day, the third function will also, that is the multiplication, will also being performed the same. So you have to keep this in mind that the main method is not doing any working. Main method is connected with multiple sub modules. So if you say that inside the main method, what I have to do? I have to do what? I have to, for performing all these three operation, I have three variable for this, I have three variable for this, I have three variable for this. That means total of 9 variables will be used inside the main method. Out of these 9 variables, your 6 variables will be input variable and 3 variables will be output variable. So separate operation need to be done. So again what happened? The compiler need to allocate the memory for 6 variables so that you can store the value, and then the compilation can be done, and then the errors will be checked, and then the operation will be done. So basically in this case nothing is happening. What happened? Add module is basically responsible for the addition, sub module is responsible for subtraction, and multi addition will be responsible for the multiplication. The model of the story is that if I relate this with a real life example, this is the manager which is managing the tea garden, and every manager has a assistant managers. Okay, so assistant manager know their role. None of these module interfere with each other with the work. If you remember in the class 9, the very first chapter, that is the features of the object oriented programming. The advantage of the object oriented programming says that none of the modules and none of the data present in the module get interference with each other. That is why there is a gap in between. There is no arrow in 3 of these boxes. Why? Because none of these modules are interfering with each other. Whatever data, whatever calculation are happening are secured inside the multiplication. Whatever calculation and whatever data are happening, it is secured inside the subtraction, and whatever data are present for the addition, they are secured inside the addition method or addition function itself. None of the functions are interfering with each other. Okay, the main work has been divided into sub modules, so each of them are performing their own set of the tasks. So actually your main program is comparatively very light because the complexity is decreases. You need, the main method need not have to maintain so many variable for so many work. Okay, so each of these are responsible for the variables, each of these are responsible for their own value, and each of these methods are also responsible for their individual output. They doesn't interfere with each other, neither the main method allows them to interfere. Okay, so your main method remains simple, main method remains light, and your program runs successfully. So this is basically the introduction of your method. Okay, I'll show you the practicals in the next class. Before that, I need to cover some theoretical concepts also. So those things we will be discussing in the next class. Okay, so that's all for today. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Welcome.